Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Commentary as Magic Stream on today's Sunday, July 14th, 2024. I am, as always, Grandpaws.
Big Cheese.
Our cat and.
Ah.
Eh.
New set.
Keep that up in there. I'm gonna start feeding you chewed up worms.
I was going.
Is that
I was
Tyler
going-
doing all of those?
No, that was me doing the last ones. I was going for the turtle.
The noises will increase until morale improves.
Has morale improved yet?
I don't know, has it?
Yes.
Okay.
Wow,
Arch just
alright.
left stream. It's just like, I'm out.
We didn't need him anymore.
Morale is so far down.
Amazing. You know what else is amazing? The fact that we hadn't even had the set officially released yet, and yet there was already a tournament.
How'd that happen?
This is just Hithrock wanting to steal everyone's thunder.
I mean, basically. Way to go. Thanks, Hithrock.
You broke it. Why'd you break it?
Actually, they didn't break it. That's why we didn't have to change anything.
That's true. Well, thank you
Well,
for
that-
not breaking it.
I suppose.
Yet.
Yet.
Yep.
Well, there was this great event called Hithcon, which has been going on now for 2 years, because only the most humble of pony card players would selfishly give up their own name so an event could use it for greater publicity. It's really one of the most magnanimous actions you could take. It could have been called TrixCon. That's all I'm saying.
I know. I'm kind of surprised it wasn't TrixieCon.
Maybe he's just taking the inspiration to speak about himself in the third person.
I mean, that's a very Trixie thing to do, yes.
Mm-hmm. But it was the first chance that anyone had to play in an organized tournament setting with cards from the New Generation set.
What do you mean the new generation set? It's like a thing happened recently?
You know, that thing that got released. Why don't you tell us about that?
Should we talk about this? I think we should talk about this. So
That a set got released?
we released a bunch of cards and also changed some assorted things. So here's the change document for what we did. And it's mostly just little fixes here and there, other than, this little thing where we just added a whole new set for the first time in 2 years?
Something like that, yeah.
Oh, and by the way, the new set caused a block rotation, so just little things like that. Nothing big.
Meet the new meta, same as the old meta, except it's not. Like, at all.
This one's fully
It is
shaded in 3D.
Very different.
And so not a whole lot else going along here. Just little fixes to make the set work. So unsurprising. But yeah, new set.
Thank you to everyone who helped us test it at the community testing day, who provided last-minute testing data from actually playing at Hithcon, or just offered feedback based on what they saw and submitted issues in the rules documents. I've never been so proud to have a community so full of grammar sticklers.
I mean, that's mostly a Diamond Song who has a reputation for going through unreleased cards and just being like, She is getting very, very good at what she does.
Issues document goes out. Ara hears footsteps running up behind him. Thump, 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 thump.
Calling me on
Wrong.
grammar issues, which is probably fine because English was not one of my better classes.
That's okay. Art design apparently was. You've really hit it out of the park with this set. We've had a lot of comments on that. So
No, that's just me sitting here being a meme lord.
apparently this is what the people want.
I've been saying this for years.
What?
Did you all
Just
hear something? I didn't hear anything.
Hey, anyone want to see some set 15 cards?
Those have not been tested yet.
That's crazy. I'm gonna post one.
you're just gonna post Sparky Baby or Dragon?
No, you put that in set 14. I'm gonna pull from set 15.
I said Baby or Dragon, not Baby Dragon. Or sorry, Babby Dragon. There we go.
Babby Dragon, yes. Outstanding.
You thought we were making an April Fool's joke.
I mean, we kind of were.
This is where I really wish I had Thundercross Split Attack loaded into OBS.
Would be amusing. Well, the reason for the stream here, other than promoting the release of New Generation, which is obviously very exciting, is to talk about what you might expect to see in it, given that there was this event. And while there were a number of players who needed to solicit decklist suggestions from the greater community as a whole, there were also some players who brought some things they cooked up on their own. And let me tell you,
They did some cooking.
There's some spicy meatballs here. Including, I think, the very first one we're going to start with, which probably had the strongest impression on both Bugle and myself while we were commentating.
All right, shall we take a look?
Let's do it.
Okay. These are converted from formerly dev instance links to real links, and hopefully there are no corruption issues because I wanted the fully up-to-date art. So it's possible I made a mistake in here somewhere, but this should be correctly representative. Just fair warning.
This looks like Unifarm / Control, I think.
This is Unit Control.
There's not enough troublemakers for this to be farm, I don't think.
And there's only 4 epics. It is absolutely Unit Control. It is Una friend-based control, sort of. Because really, this is Una looking at a new meta, determining that people were going to play friends, and saying, but what if small?
What if friends were small?
What if friends were small? Not my friends. My friends are big. What if your friends were small?
Are they big or are they just normal size?
A Flutter Swarm.
What's that, Cheese?
I said, what if I played a Flutter Swarm?
What if I played 2 Flutter Swarms?
Sounds worse.
This deck is in fact not small.
If I played Flutter Swarm and Opaline Arcana, and then made all your things very small when they entered, kind of forever. We've got a little bit of a Magic Restored package going on there, and it was interesting to hear Cursed and Hithrock talking about this on their just broad overview stream, that they felt like if you were leaning into Magic counters, that you either needed to go whole hog, all in on the Magic counters, or you needed to basically not touch them. And to a point, I think that's kind of true. There's only one set built around this mechanic right now, and so anything that synergizes with this mechanic, which by itself does nothing, is within New Generation. So your options for running cards that are going to work very well with most Magic counter effects are basically right here. At least in these 2 colors. And why do we care about Magic counters if they don't actually do anything? Well, because we play a bunch of cards that make them do things.
Also, your opponent has cards that do things if you don't have them.
This is true. We see Patch, who is immediate speed problem replacement using Magic counters. We see Queen Haven, who puts Critter Friend tokens into play. Sugar Moonlight, who bounces things. Fry Brains, which dismisses things. Opaline Arcana, which makes opposing friends just
Steals
so
things.
tiny. So tiny.
Oh, this is wrong Opaline.
Wrong Opaline.
I mean, Opaline would
Frisbee-
steal things if she could, but she can't, so she doesn't.
Mm-hmm. Frisbeam Lantern doubling all of these triggers. A single copy of Peach Fizz just because, hey, he's cheap, why not? And so you combine this kind of soft removal package at first with counters, with negative power counters, -1 power counters, I should say, along with Treehouse of Harmony, which will then start dismissing all your opponent's friends. Run a little bit of Rampage for some resource removal, Sprouticus to wipe the board if you have to, and, like, this is just mean.
What did this lose to? I'm out of curiosity.
Me.
I don't know. Oh, it lost to you?
Yeah.
I mean, that makes sense.
But that was partially due to not the best draws.
Oh, did Cursed have a slow start?
Wasn't this Sith Rock running this? Or was
No,
Cursed running this?
We
No,
did
this was-
say
this
who's
was
running this, right? This is Cursed.
Yeah, this was Cursed.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I did play against this, so I just forget what order I played in.
Yeah, if your opponent doesn't mind their cards being sent to their discard pile and is just going to shuffle them back in, this might be a little bit harder. That being said, some of these resources are still very powerful. And it turns out in the Yuna v Yuna match, if you never challenge your opponent's Troublemaker to have a chance of flipping your main's not going to do much. And you're not going to have Wreck to play cards. So, you know, flip your mains.
Or don't, and be sad, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Crystal Bright House as a win condition here is not bad, because eventually you're just going to end up with so many magic counters on your friends that, you know, why not? We'll move them over here. And hey, we get to see Cumbersome Couch being run, and there are resources that it cares about. I kind of halfway wonder if Cursed started building this list thinking, I'm going to make this card work.
Well, I'm also surprised there's no. Why am I blanking on that card's name?
Which one?
Discord counters.
Oh, Foolish? Yeah,
Yeah.
Foolish should probably end up going in here. Maybe over Mystery? Maybe over Method?
Yeah, I was thinking maybe Method.
Cursed Series says, I was building the deck first, then realizing that it was a good problem for it. Was there a reason you opted not to run Foolish? Because that is an interesting observation. We'll have to see what he says. Well, there was no reason he opted not to run Foolish. Okay, fair enough. That's the entry here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Looks fine. Plenty of magic counters. Got some resource removal with Rampage.
Checks
Go
all the
ahead.
boxes.
Little bit of tweaking here and there just to suit personal preference, but I mean, it was a 3-way tie for first, so and this one had the stronger tiebreakers, so if it ain't broke, don't fix it, I guess. I think we are going to see a meta that is going to have more reliance on friends, just because some of the options are a bit more limited in terms of what certain colors can and cannot do post-rotation. So be aware. Opaline and Flutter Swarm might very well be kill on sight.
Hawk, save a kill spell for this guy.
Kinda. I got no other comments. This thing was cool to watch. This was very neat. Anyone else?
Next.
Let's see what we get. Next up.
Hi, new friend.
That's all you have to say about this is hi, new friend?
Yes.
Orange, pink, and
Orange,
every
pink, mess
single
with discard pile.
one of these cards makes me sad.
Pipsqueak
Every
makes
what?
you sad?
Pipsqueak
Why-
is great.
Why does Pipsqueak make you sad?
Because my opponent is going to have one and I'm not.
All right. That's Get Prepared makes you sad?
Look at those ponies. Look at how sad they are.
They are pretty sad. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this deck is kind of all about discard pile and getting things in there and then getting them into play. And then also getting rid of your deck so that you can rockter it / still partying. Although it's a little hard to do in 35 minutes. But
Depends on how many featherbangs you find.
yeah, if you can manage it, it works pretty well.
Beagle says he thinks Pipsqueak has surpassed Gyro as the best one-cost friend in the game. I mean, lower rec matters a lot, right?
If I'm in Harmony, like, Gyro is still probably more valuable than Pipsqueak, but, like...
They go in... Well, I mean, they serve very different purposes.
How about both? Both is good.
They both
Let's do
find
both.
you cards.
One just draws you an extra card every turn, and the other one is like, I need this silver bullet right now.
One draws you a card once.
But
Of your choice.
but it finds the exact card that you want.
Yeah.
And there's a quantity versus quality argument here, I think.
A free card every turn gets you. Yeah, exactly. Some other good cards here. Windy is interesting as removal. It's also like 2 for 3 power, so pretty decent. Diamond Tiara was useful against the multiple copies of Pip decks. Please don't steal my stuff. Especially my giant pinky.
I don't know if that works.
The decks run other gaining control, not just
Okay.
not just it's not necessarily the main's ability. It's those decks steal stuff in general.
They find
That's fair.
ways to steal your things.
Oh,
Yeah.
sure. If they're doing like the plurite interaction or stuff like
Yeah.
that, sure, that makes sense. Okay.
And regrettably, they do not have ways to retire your things.
Right, but that's the awkward part, is that you have like a pinky in play and your opponent plurites pinky, and Diamond Tiara says, no, I'm going to retire pinky, and then Pip says, you activated my trap card, and then puts pinky into play,
Yeah.
which is a little awkward. But hey, at least you can force a...
They had to spend an AT.
Yeah, they had to spend an AT, and you can always exhaust Pip too with Melted in here.
Yeah.
How did you find Mod Pie and Mudbriar to be?
Which one is this? It was useful because, well, so like if you have Pip, it's all of a sudden very easy to Pipsqueak, yeah. It's very easy to like I can spend 1 AT and draw a card and get a 3 power token. Which this deck is like still trying to confront. So it definitely helps on the scoring points front. But you do kind of need Pip to make it useful.
Mm-hmm.
An interesting one is Just Make It Work. Like, it discards 3 random cards, which generally is bad. But you do have Pinky Sense, and you can get your cards back from the discard pile, and you're trying to discard your deck anyway. So this is like one of the few cases it makes sense in.
Like, this is not a downside. I have control over this. And
To a
message from
point.
the well, you have, assuming you have a Pinky Sense in play, you have
Yeah.
complete control
Oh,
over whether or
sure.
not you actually discard anything.
Yeah.
Because you actually get to see what the cards are before you choose whether or not they go on top.
Yeah.
And then Message from the Past is just such a powerful enabler of so many different cards here.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the nice thing is, like, you can discard it, and then, oh wait, it goes back into your hand. You don't even need to play it. I think, like, the only thing it matters to play on is not enough glitter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's, like, the only card it matters on. Yeah, so it's, like, its playability is irrelevant. Other than technically you can use it to help flip, but that's a bad way to play it.
Yeah. Sprout does some work. Like Bugle mentioned, Sprout is a fun card to have when you are playing more with your deck in your discard pile than your deck in your actual deck.
Yeah.
You know, what are the cards here that you cannot get back from your discard pile? Well, Message is going to come back to your hand automatically. Get Prepared is just entry, so you're probably not going to bring that back. So you're talking about 8 pieces of event-based removal, and literally everything else can be brought back with your main.
Yep. Yeah, Windy is kind of sort of reusable.
Sure. You have to wait a turn, but you can do it. And like you said, if you've got Pipsqueak or Diamond for the Eager, right? Just drawing those 2 cards every turn is just so useful.
I mean, even outside of like a combo style interaction, Wendy is just kind of generally useful because you can use her in multiple modes. So I don't think you really mind having like more than 3 of her around effectively.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and Earth Pony Crystal is nice. Oh yeah, that's the other card that cares about magic counters. But
Sure.
Like the second ability, yes, it's kind of useful. Like it matters for Pinky and Sprout.
That's it. Those are the only ones it matters for.
And even with Sprout, I like generally would rather just banish some cards to play it for even cheaper. Because you have to like spend the 2 to get a magic counter on it. So
I think go ahead.
Yeah, it costs like 6 AT to put the first thing into play.
I think in the updated version of this list, I actually dropped the Earth Pony Crystal and Pinky from the list and went like bringing a few things up to 3 of. Like I think I brought up Mod Pie and Mudbriar to a full 3 of, and maybe Buffagren.
Well,
Can't remember.
I would consider like I just hardcast Pinky. It's cheaper.
With Ray?
Just like pay to play it. Just I forget what color and try I used for that, but
I mean, Get Prepared or Ray will end up working, right?
Yeah.
So fun list, lot of interesting lines of play for sure.
Yep.
Weird control list is weird. Also,
It's not
powerful.
control.
It's
No.
not control.
It's mid-range.
Mid-rangey.
Yeah. It is the purest expression of mid-range that I think you can get.
Yeah, this is nowhere near enough removal to be control.
Alright, sure. I mean, there's still a lot of removal, but
Oh yeah,
sure.
but mid-range runs removal. I mean, heck, Cadence Blue. We'll talk about Cadence Blue eventually.
I don't like that sigh. Let's see. So this was cheese at also 3-in-1?
Mhm.
Okay, and I think we have our third 3-in-1. Go for the hat trick here.
Mm-hmm.
Hat tricks, really? Ugh. Well, I know it's not Hithrock.
This,
'Cause
I
it-
believe, was Anemoy.
Yep.
This was Anemoy.
That's a lot of purple smart.
Did you play against this at all, Cheese?
I don't remember. I don't think I did.
Also, there's one card in particular I hate the most.
Is it
Let's see.
is it changed?
Yes.
Changed. There we go.
If it's any consolation, I think that is an easy swap for mayonnaise. So you do not have to run Crayola bugs if you don't want to. This is another all-in Magic Restored list. Elderflower, Lava, Pip, Cold Drop, Sunny, Prisbeam, Masquerade, Bright House. Like, you got the whole Magic package going on here. In fact, you have even more of that than you do with Cursed's list, because take a look at the problem deck. 8 of those cards say Magic Restored on them. So this is
One of those
all
cards says Magic Restored, and this deck... Can it even confront that? 3 of them?
No, it cannot.
Kind of spicy.
This thing is all in on Crystal Bright House. Cursed said this was a very odd matchup to play. We just kind of stared at each other for a while Anemoy drew cards and didn't play anything, then it turned into an all-out Prisbeam race. Which makes sense, you're just going to save the resources. Unlike Cursed's Magic Restored that was trying to build synergies between them to affect the game state. Also, game state.
Game tape.
Anemoy said, what if I just sit here and play Solitaire? And put 6 counters on Crystal Bright House, score 6 points, draw 6 cards, and then do it with like 9 counters next time. And I will say, having played this, having played against it, having tried different versions of Magic Restored, focusing on Crystal Bright House, with just a select few tweaks in here, this is probably my favorite combo list to come out of the new meta. It is clean and simple and very straightforward. And like I said, with a few little tweaks here and there for a bit of extra protection, or some greater answers, or just maybe some slightly more efficient tools, or broadly useful tools. The core of this deck is almost perfect with where it needs to be. Do not sleep on mono purple Magic Restored if you are going into Continentals, because if you are not running the right type of resource removal for this, you will just get blown out. Shopkeep. Shopkeep.
Shopkeep.
Shopkeep. Go ahead, though, Ara. You were going to say something.
This is why resource removal is mandatory. Free.
There were already a bunch of resources that were printed in this set, but there are more colorless resources in this set than any set we've done previously. I believe any set that existed previously. Resources matter. So find ways to remove them. And while normally I would sit there and say, you know, cards like Full Name Drop are just so useful because they can hit everything. Well, if your opponent's stacking counters on Bright House, they can't really do that. And they can play a Bright House and not have counters on it, and you can bounce it to their hand. And then they replay a Bright House because it costs 0.
This is why you're supposed to use Pip and steal it. Your Bright House? No, comrade.
My Bright House.
Our Bright House.
Is it really our bright house or is it my bright house?
Streamer privilege.
Hmm.
Alright, what's next?
What's next? What's next is a Hithrock deck. But you know what this doesn't have?
Signal?
It doesn't have enough pip. It also doesn't have any signal now. 0 bars. Is Bugle
That's all
correct? Is there
noise?
no Trixie?
There
There
is
are no
no
tr-
Trixie.
There is no Trixie.
He
Amazing.
originally was playing a list with Trixie. And then he discovered what the rest of us knew this whole time.
Trixie is bad.
Correct. He's going to be so mad when he watches this later. Cursed, don't you say a thing. Let him discover it on his own.
Okay, but this has lots of pip.
This
That's
does.
fine.
It doesn't have like all the pip it could though.
He can be a Pip Lord. That's fine.
It can't. Zip. Unless Misty ends up stealing everyone's heart. She is a criminal. Kind of.
You do have a thing for the bad ponies.
See, but Hithrock has a thing for blue unicorns. And helpless Y gesture.
Fair. Pip Pink with Plurite and Izzy Moonbow unicycling delivery.
This does a lot of things.
And 3 copies of Posy Bloom. And Sirens and We're Back. This is just mean.
What does this deck do?
What does it not do?
It makes you annoyed.
It farms salt.
For the
There are
content.
so many different ways that you can mess with the opponent here. I feel like the wear back is just like salt in the wound at that point.
I mean, but you
salt
gotta
is
though.
delicious. Yeah. I think Bugle made a comment either on stream or in Discord over the last week about how Izzy Moonbow is a strong card when she passes the Thunder Lane test for a 4-cost 2-power friend even in aggro lists. This is not an aggro list, but we'll get to one here in a second. Is this correct? Only 1 copy of Stellar Flare?
I was looking at that myself and trying to wonder, because I'm so used to that being a 3 of in decks like this. But maybe just wanted to use some of the newer cards, so he just opted to only run 1 copy to get
Yeah.
himself up to 50.
Yeah, I guess so. He's
what it says.
He's at exactly 50 cards here, so.
He'll explain his smallness later.
Actually, no, he's not. This deck is incomplete. It only has 9 problems. What's the last problem?
Explain your smallness.
Explain your smallness. This is the list, so
Yeah. We'll have to see what it was. We'll also have to see if 3 posies was the right number to run. This is definitely Pip doing control things, though. There's no doubt. This is not messing around with mid-range. This is Pip farming your opponent's salt.
this is Pip doing Pip things.
Well, so that's the interesting thing. We'll get to what else Pip can do here in a second.
Pip can do more than one thing.
It's Hithrock entries at a premium having sat with him. He had a much harder time cutting down than adding up. He's only running 6 entry. Stellar's so good, though. What can he actually play? Giorno, Rarity, 1 Stellar. He's got
Technically,
7.
it's 9 entry with Ray of Hope.
Oh, he's running Buckball. No, he's got Ray and Giorno, and that's it for entry into pink.
Oh.
Which
That's
is
about as much entry I would expect from a deck like this.
Yeah. 2 pips, 1 stellar, 3 rarities, and 3 Giornos for flipping his main. Yep. Because he does start with the buck ball, so that is an option. All right. Let's take a look at the next list.
The next list. Almost got out of order there. I see birds. I see lots of birds.
This is Unifarm.
Yeah, it is.
You sure?
No, I'm not sure actually. There's a Spike Dragon Lord's Dragon
There's
Farm.
an Opaline.
There is Opaline.
I mean, there's basically all the epics that you've got access to that you really want to fight.
I mean, you're not messing with Flashbee Queen here. But that's a different list. Which is kind of funny, because yellow was previously the best color for farming Flashbee Queen. Bugle says, "Rarf, rarf, 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 rarf."
Cloud Puff.
Cloud Puff. The
It's pretty good.
cause of and solution to all of farms problems.
It seems good.
It is exceptionally good. And Yuna looks at it and is like, it's nice having a 3 power advantage in the face-off, but what if?
It was 6.
What if 6 power advantage?
Correct. That's also one of the reasons why I actually love the one of Spike in here, for the same reason. Like, Spike is a great card if you can get it to land, but putting it in your farm list does normally reduce the power.
Yeah.
Except what if it doesn't?
Right. Or, boy, you know, it really is a shame to be playing like Pink Dragon Farm and relying on Shopkeep, knowing that I'm going to flip 2, you know, when it comes up. But I can just flip 4 and then still have Shopkeep in my list. This sounds great.
Flipping a 4 power is like the lowest you can flip in this deck.
I think that's kind of what's going on here, though, is that Yuna has taken the strongest pieces that Yellow Farm currently has access to and has removed their downside that would normally be present, putting them in a farm list. It's looked at cards like Station Hotline and Shopkeep and Featherweight. You thought Pipsqueak was good. Featherweight is just as good.
Oh, yeah, the power histogram on this is nuts.
And it just says, I love flipping all of these low cards, because they're not actually low. And I also flip high. And then I also have all this disruption. Like, I concede that I was completely wrong on Station Hotline. I didn't think that it was a great inclusion in here over just running 3 copies of Crystal Brighthouse. I had forgotten that Station Hotline allows your main to be involved on your opponent's turn, which by itself is fine. It's 3 extra power, except now your main is involved, so Consolation Prize triggers on each player's turn. The amount of card advantage that you gain in this deck between Featherweight and Consolation Prize and Station Hotline is absolutely nuts. I love it. I think, I mean, Dragon Farm is very powerful and can rely more on its main, but often relies on extra flips. If you had to ask me, I'd say this is probably the farm deck to beat coming out the gate. Did you play against this at all, Cheese?
I think I did, because I remember Opaline.
I would
Was there any
recommend.
other deck run?
Well, Cursed was running. Well, he wasn't running Opaline though.
No. Was Max running Opaline?
There's one other. There's at least one other Opaline in another list.
Dan is running it. Yeah, it might have been Dan.
Yes, it was
Okay.
Dan.
Because I know I played against Dan, and I know I played against Cursed.
So
Did you play
this
against
this should
Bite?
be Max, yes.
This was Bite.
Yeah,
Right.
this was Bite Wave.
Played against Hithrock. So it's possible that I played against Bite.
Cool list, very strong, love it. Unless it's on the other side of the table, and then I hate it.
See, you're not supposed to say that unless it's a control list. What's going on here? This is weird and scary.
Shopkeep is like kill on sight. That's what I got to say.
Yeah. All right, next list.
You said something about friends being prevalent in the meta.
Yes, I did say this.
Got friends here.
Like your friends.
Okay, Cadence Blue.
Cadence Blue was good before.
Which this list honestly looks really weird without the plush dash in it.
No plush dash, no Spitfire, no Angel Wings, no stop fighting, no belly flop, no loyal pony. This list very much had to reinvent itself.
I think it did an okay job of that because it's like Loyal
It's
Pony
okay,
was.
it has Sunny and Argyle.
Yeah, and it's got Pastry Crest and Marcel and Phyllis, and this is an aggro list, right? This looks annoying.
I mean, it's an aggro list, I think.
Did you
Yes.
think? I mean, it kind of depends on what you called Cadence Blue before. If you didn't call Cadence Blue aggro before, if you called it mid-range, which I think some people did, and I think there is an argument to be made for that, then I do not think that you can call this aggro, because I believe this list is slower.
Well, yes, but it's also in doing that trade-off. I think this also got a lot more tools to be annoying with.
Oh, yes, it did. I agree with Bugle. I think this list, in this current version anyway, is definitely leaning more on mid-range. Just instead of doing the incremental confront and build overwhelming value thing that Izzy Orange does, Cadence will have strong burst turns by virtue of running high bonus point problems and being able to generate massive amounts of burst power with, Fleetfoots that get huge and Sunny and Argyle that just give enormous anthems. Every single type that is on Sunny and Argyle is also on at least one other friend that's in here. Bugle says, there ain't no cowardice here, and I agree, there is not. And I would certainly hope not, because you have 4 pieces of problem replacement.
I was going to say, it doesn't even count because you have Discord and whatever the other one's called.
Patch.
Yeah, Patch.
Let's just, for the briefest of moments, take a look at how much immediate speed disruption is in this list. Or just disruption, I'm sorry. So you got Professor of Loyalties, once a player gets above 8.
Frighten.
Misty Bright Dawn, additional Frighten.
Frighten.
Phyllis Cloverleaf, additional Frighten that also turns your Frighten into value. Discord, who can replace problems at immediate speed. Patch, who can replace problems at immediate speed. Misty and Izzy, who will frighten or dismiss frightened things and get stronger every time you do something quickly. Tactical Maneuver frightens or is an aggro tool. Chaos Magic Blast dismisses. Rat Squawk, you know? The amount of disruption that this list runs is very high, higher than it was before. And the amount of value it gets out of that disruption is the thing that makes it so scary. This blue Frighten package, you're going to see this a lot. Anytime a player is playing blue as one of their two primary colors, you will probably see 3 Misty Bright Dawns, 3 Phyllis Cloverleafs, and 3 Tactical Maneuvers. I'm not necessarily counting resource disruption in here. I'm counting just friend disruption right now.
So what was the total count there on friend disruption?
Many.
3, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14,
Too
15,
many.
16, 17, 19, 20, 23. 23 cards.
What?
Yeah, I don't think this gets called aggro anymore.
Yeah.
This is dumb.
Yeah, that's a lot of cards.
Oh, it's aggressive.
I mean, yeah.
Aggressively mean.
This is interesting. How did this do? This was like 2 and 2?
I think he tied one of their games.
2-1-2? Yeah.
1-1 actually.
1-2-1. There we go, yeah. This seems... I guess, yeah, it depends what the meta looks like, but... Against an aggro deck that doesn't do this, I think this just kind of wins.
Well, that's kind of been the MO for a while, right? If it's aggro versus mid-range, it should go to mid-range. Because they've just got so much more disruption, and if they can time it appropriately, then it's just nuts. And it's a small card pool set, right? So aggro has a tendency to be at its slowest.
Right after the rotation, yeah.
It's kind of weird, though, right? Because while aggro is at its slowest, control also has the fewest number of tools available to itself. So control has fewer options, but aggro has less speed. So it's really just a matter of the power of the two respective kits. And I think the thing that really gives a great edge here is the fact that Misty and Izzy and Phyllis Cloverleaf both offer repeatable value. And that is pretty tremendous. Also, you can just replace problems and have Cherry Berry score you points for doing nothing, which feels a lot like cheating. That's mean.
That's mean. I agree, that's mean.
That's mean. But we did determine that Cadence does, in fact, not like Worn Out when she is still on her start side. So Cadence always needs to have her cell phone on her. Next list.
More Pip.
Mono Pip.
Is she cute?
She's small.
Depends.
I wonder if this has... I'm somewhat surprised this didn't think about running the Izzy Troublemaker.
What does she do?
It removes abilities.
Ah, yeah.
Izzy is a wonderful Troublemaker to run if you are playing a combo deck or a control deck that fears very specific tools, and you are running any number of Troublemakers, which will obviously include Grogar, which means you can then find it. This is the first time I I can think of that we saw Pip play aggro. This is not mid-range. This is aggro. And it just happens to have an ability on its main that normally lends itself towards a little bit slower deck. But we saw Max in mono white, not even starting Surprise Concert, do a turn 2 DFO.
How magical happy Christmas time was that, though?
Well, he went second. He moved his main up to Finding Your Magic, played Sweetie Belle, flipped his main, then played a Saddle Row Storefront, confronted and gained an AT with Pip on his boosted side, or on her boosted side, at the end of his first turn. So this left him with the ability to use Pip if he needed to. And then on his next turn, he played a Matilda to his opponent's Finding Your Magic with a Summoning Bell attached to Matilda, giving him 3 power at his opponent's 5-rec problem, but he also needs 2 less to confront. So it was not that magical Christmas time. It was one of the coolest plays. We saw him come very, very close to doing the exact same thing a game later. It was wild. This was also the first time that Bugle and I saw Saddle Row Storefront being used as like the primary strategy with Pip. And I will never run a Pip deck without 3 copies of this card anymore. So much of dealing with Pip is trying to work your way around how do I make sure I have access to Pip's ability if I need to, and having to hamstring yourself 1 AT on your turn just so you can leave that ability active feels bad.
Yeah.
Saddle Row Storefront says you don't have to.
You weren't going to be able to use this on your turn anyway.
Well, it's an investment, which, sure. And it's one that, generally speaking, in this deck you expect to pay off. So that makes sense.
You still have disruptive tools in here. You still got Completely Surrounded, and you still got 0 bars, and you still got Pip, right? Which all of this makes sense. You got Professor of Generosity and Flim and Flam, so you are still going to be messing with Home Limit, and that is totally fine. I kind of wonder if you wanted to lean even further into aggro if you couldn't find room for Fluttergust, just because it's another cheap friend that you can end up playing with Pip on going second turn 1. Beagle says he's surprised at the lack of Caught in the Act. Caught in the Act would be a very powerful disruptive tool.
I mean, that's one of the maybe more... And I think I kind of see why it does this, but this does pack a couple of disruptive tools that I think are mostly intended to help get Pip's ability to fire.
Such as?
So there's 0 bars and... What is that? Completely Surrounded?
Mm-hmm.
I can't actually read it for multiple reasons. But...
Yes.
Like, those two sit there, and it's just like... And you're glaring at those and going, why are you... And then it's like, oh, right, Pip. I don't... Might aggro, though.
There's just a smidgen of some Magic Restored synergy in here with Satin Gleam and Crystal Bright House and Sunny and Message. I don't think any of those cards are so important to this list that you could not just drop them for other either aggro tools or some of the disruption like Bugle was talking about, like Caught in the Act. But the core friend package of Matilda, Sweetie Belle, Stellar Flare, Pip, and even Flim and Flam to an extent, pretty good. I like it. Cool stuff.
Yeah, I mean, some of this can come down to playstyle choices as well. So yeah.
Yeah, I'd be curious to hear Max's thought process on why he decided to go this direction with Pip, because it was really cool and it worked a lot better than I think anyone, at least on the commentary side, was expecting it to. So definitely something to explore.
I mean, don't write this stuff off. Like, sometimes you got to mess around and see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
So clearly, I need to try more decks with Spike Baby Dragon. See if we can make it work.
Yeah, we got Sparky. It's the next best thing.
I see.
So speaking of messing around with things to see what works, GP, explain whatever this next thing is.
What is thisness here?
Yeah, like, what even is this?
This is mean.
Meme?
This is mean. This is, hey, let's take a look. Remember how I said if you see a blue package, it's likely to have many of these same tools? Well, there's 3 Misty Bright Dawns and 3 Phyllis Clover Leafs. This one does not happen to have the tactical maneuver, but it's got Danger, Danger, and Mayonnaise, and Grogar's Lair. And some Troublemakers. This is rude. This is Allura and Twitch. The original intent behind this deck was, I'm going to play Allura and Twitch, and then I'm just going to gain control of the game. And once I've gotten control of the game, I'm going to land a Legion of Doom, and then I'm going to end the game. And to an extent, you can absolutely do this. Bottled Dragonfire is a house. Phyllis exhausts. Allura and Twitch exhausts. Legion of Doom exhausts. So all of those are, I mean, Shadow Bolts exhausts if you have that there. All of those are great. You bury your opponent in card advantage, thanks to Allura and Twitch and all the frightening that you have. And Counter Logic Factory, which says the longer the game goes on, the more value I'm going to get, either continuing to temporarily steal, frighten, and draw off of your cards, or I'll just mess with your discard pile and just draw a card right away. And if you're playing farm, I'll send your character home. Move your character home. Immediate speed.
It always goes back to go home, doesn't it?
It always...
Deck.
It's blue-purple. What do you want from me?
I want you to stop sending my things home.
No.
I'm not sending them home. I'm moving them home.
I don't care. Stop relocating them home.
Can I mayonnaise them and then put them into play back at home?
No.
But it's a different card. You're not. That doesn't count. Shush. I am technically correct.
Can I mayonnaise them and just make them be banished forever? So now 1,000 years, go moon 1,000 years, bye-bye banish time?
No.
Can I make it so they can't contribute their power to face-offs? Can I steal all the
With
things?
your one splatulated or splatapulted, whatever that card's called.
Yes, with the one splatapulted, correct. What about it?
It's only one. I'm just gonna get rid of it.
Now, I will say this. I think that a lot of the strength of this deck came about in testing originally when Allura and Twitch did not have to exhaust. Having them exhaust brings the power level of the deck down a fair amount, but it also provides extra synergy with Bottled Dragonfire. So you can kind of make the argument. But there's a lot of Frighten in here. And I think that's the thing, is the 3 layers plus Lord Tyrek plus your Troublemaker suite plus Phyllis and Misty and just everything that's going on. Or in Twitch, Legion to get rid of problematic things. It's just good. It's a good soft control package because there's enough interaction, there's enough synergies between them that you will outvalue your opponent unless they are playing Sunny. And if they are playing Sunny, then you are incredibly sad. And I would go find something else to do for 35 minutes.
Your opponent reveals their main is Sunny Star Scout. You immediately start signing your match slip.
Lol.
A little bit?
I mean, you gotta give it like 10 minutes just to see if it's gonna go anywhere, but... yeah.
There is an argument that the deck should be running Misty instead of Lord Tyrek. And that will certainly help you close out games faster. So it's really a matter of whether you want to lean more on the mid-range, I will push aggressively, or the control, nah, we're going to soft time, like playstyle. But that cat and that bunny, they are very mean. Apparently, when we make 3-color cards with villains on them, they're just kind of jerks. Apparently, when we make 3-color cards, with heroes on them, they're also kind of jerks.
I was about to say, hold on here, because let's go down the list here. Yeah, they're all jerks other than Celestia.
Cadence, Big Twy,
Luna,
yeah. What about 3-color cards with ships on them?
Ships.
Time will tell.
Ship it.
That has a combo deck, and it's very funny. It's not very good, but it's very funny.
Oh, I thought you were talking about shipping Allura and Twitch.
No.
No, that happened like last week. Was it this week? I don't remember. Time is a blur.
Spoilers.
When do episodes come
Always
out?
be shipping.
That's Cadence's motto.
And that's why she lives on the moon now. Don't worry about it.
I would say, overall, though, a pretty encouraging...
The other thing to say about this deck is I believe this was piloted by someone with very little experience playing the game, so do not look at this with its record and write it off.
Sure, that's fair. Right, a number of these decks, like I said, where people needed deck lists and just kind of had something thrust into their hands, so practice with it,
This
test it
was
out.
my first time playing the Izzy deck.
Quiet.
The Izzy deck is complex. This deck is also complex.
Yeah.
Cadence Blue is complex. Una Yellow is not.
These cards have too many words on them. I just want to run vanilla entry and just play friends the whole game.
We need to bring Iron Will back. That was too many syllables, apologize.
Basically. But with those 8 lists, we saw numerous mains, several who were new, several who had already existed. We saw all 6 colors represented, and I don't think that there's a single one of those lists that with a little bit of tweaking couldn't end up being a very, very aggressive, or I'm sorry, a very, very competitive list to bring to Continentals.
Well, it remains to be seen what comes up, because there's... what, about a month?
Oh god, Continentals is in a month?
No, Continentals is in like 6 weeks. We've got more time than that.
I said about a month. That's within like around... That's in the error bars. Shush. Although I suppose that also means that we should probably try to like online con or something.
An online con may not be a bad idea. We should also probably, talk about each of these cards individually and whether
All
we
of
think
them.
they should be played. What do you think? We should do all of them?
Every card.
So that's the beginning of the game.
Mm,
In the set. But who has time to talk about all the cards?
we do.
Us,
That
apparently.
sounds like it would take a long
Oh
time.
no, we're gonna have to rewrite that now, aren't we? Ugh.
You'll be alright.
Yes, we have alternate lyrics for the We Do song. Of course we do.
Yes, we do. Yeah, Slogfest be coming up, and it be coming up soon. Get your sleep now, because you're gonna need it.
Yeah, there is. Okay, there is like exactly enough room to do a Coco. One.
You want to do a Coco?
I mean, we're about to do an online, a physical con, so.
Coco probably useful. Well, keep your eyes peeled on Reddit over the next couple of days, as you will likely see the announcement regarding
Something.
some type of event, along with an announcement regarding some type of fest of the slog variety. And come to Everfree for Continentals. Continentals is at Everfree. To everyone who I have talked with over the last 2 months, who's been like, I had no idea Continentals was at Everfree. Okay, yes you did. We said it 2 months before that point. Continentals is at Everfree. I'm saying it now. We'll make a highlight clip out of just this section right here. No one can say Continentals wasn't at Everfree or they had no idea that it was coming.
We also have a panel at Everfree, right?
We also
We
have
do.
a panel at Everfree.
And
Anyway,
lots of events. Continentals come directly to Everfree. Continentals come directly to Everfree.
Bugle says, where is Continentals? Now it's at your house. Everyone go to Bugle's house for Continentals.
Yep, that's fair. Continentals is available without an invitation.
Ask your doctor if Continentals is right for you.
Continentals is never right for me.
Oh, cool. Ivory's here.
Yeah, no, can't be bothered to throw the comprehensive rules out. Just play however you want. I don't really care. Like I said, these cards have too many words, and this document has too many words. So I'm getting rid of it.
Put a
This deck
40
has
power ponyta into play. Look, it's a horse. It's fine.
This deck has too many options. Apologize. I like it. Anyway, I think that will about wrap up our discussion on this topic for today. We would like to give a big shout out to all our patrons on Patreon. Thank you so much for your regular support. If you aren't currently a patron and you enjoy what we do, consider donating. Doing so does enable us to continue making content like this and lets you earn some great perks as a bonus. If you have comments or questions you'd like to send our way, feel free to reach out to us through Facebook, Twitter, or email. If you're a patron, you can also chat live with us on Slack any day, anytime, especially right now when I am intentionally destroying my sleep schedule.
This is a dirty lie. Okay, no,
I
it's
am-
not.
Schedule.
For the Vigi game. Finally, if you're looking to watch any of our previous videos, including tournament recordings, you can find them on our YouTube channel, linked just below the stream. If you're looking for the video recordings from Hithcon, though, you should check out Meticulous Talks. With all that said, thank you to each and every one of our viewers, both here now and watching this recording later. We are, as always, Commentary is Magic. I am, as always, Grand Paws.
Big cheese?
Yeah.
Oh, so you are actually just yeah now?
Kitty. Squeak.
Bye.
Golly!
Bye.
I'm going back to Final Fantasy.
Bye.